Where are the Narragansett, the Mohicans, the Bocanet, and other powerful tribes of our people? They have vanished before the avarice and oppression of the white man, as snow before the summer sun.
White men have been telling the Indian what to do for a long time. But today there is sorrow among the Indians, a sorrow that stems from the daily frustrations of high unemployment, poverty, prejudice, a sorrow that has its roots deep in our American history. It's time America listened to the Indian.
I'm going to be a strictly Indian, no matter what.
There are more languages and cultures among the North American Indian than there are in all the countries of Europe. But they have one thing in common: their love for America. In the early 1800s, the Muskogee Creek lived peacefully in what is now Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. President Andrew Jackson ordered their removal to Oklahoma. Thousands died on this forced march, now called the Trail of Tears. Chief Dan George interprets the words of Speckled Snake, a Creek chief of that time.
When the first white man came over the wide waters, he was but a little man, very little. His legs were cramped by sitting long in his big boat, and he begged for a little land. But when the white man had warmed himself at the Indian's fire, he became very large. He stopped not at the mountain tops, and his foot covered the plains and the valleys. Then he became our great father. He loved his red children, but he said, "You must move a little further, lest by accident I tread on you." Now he says, the land you live upon is not yours. Go beyond the Mississippi. There you may remain while the grass grows and the rivers flow.
What do you think of this place? Did you like it, or you hate it, or?
Well, I enjoyed it summer because I was sent away to school.
What kind of school?
A boarding school. They tried to teach us to talk English, and we had to wear coveralls. We had to march to school, march to our meals, and then back to our
for instance,
dormitories.
if they heard you talking Indian, what did they do?
Well, we were punished. We had to do some work, or else they had to wash our mouths with some soap and different things.
Mrs. Hill's father tells the story of the Trail of Tears, a story Reverend Hill knows well.
They overran our people and took away our governmental rights, but still yet that's injected into our heart to be kind. I hate to say this, but like, for instance, if all the white people, if Russia was to come over and begin to shoot and kill and try to rape all the white girls and try to kill off the white people, you know, Indian is crazy enough to go out there and defend the white people. You know, I mean, that's how receptive we are to our neighbors and to those that we have learned to live with, and even though they mistreated us.
There is nothing in the white man's experience that can translate the meaning of a ceremonial stomp dance. Old friendships are rekindled, and newcomers are welcomed. As in most Indian gatherings, everyone shares what he has brought. A hard winter will pass before the next ceremonial, But now they will spend the night dancing to the joy of living.
The great sea has sent me adrift. It moves me as the weed in the great river. Earth and the great weather move me, have carried me away, and move my inward parts with joy.
In the morning, they are renewed, united in spirit, ready for the coming winter. They will gather again in the spring. Because of men like Reverend Hill, the Indian language and tradition still live among the Creek in Oklahoma. Love of the land made the Sioux great warriors, proud horsemen, and defenders of the Great Plains and its buffalo. They worshiped the earth as holy. Listen to the Sioux.
Where the sun shines continually, they will appear. A buffalo nation, they will appear, behold. A horse nation, they will appear. May you behold.
Each year in South Dakota, the Rosebud Sioux hold an all-Indian rodeo. Here they match their bravery and skill against the strength of the horse.
They are dancing. They are coming to behold you. The horse nation of the West is dancing. They are coming to behold. The Great Spirit told me that the land belongs to him, and no people owns the land, for it was never divided, but belongs to all.
The people talk about earthly things, that politics and money and all is billing and all the frog hides in their head and all that. But that doesn't affect me a damn bit. They're just second-hand stuff. Like the rock I'm sitting on, this is not made by white men. This is God-made.
The Great Spirit gave us plenty of land to live on, and buffalo. If the white man had a country which was very valuable, which had always Blother had promised should be yours forever, the man of another race came to take it away by force, what would your people do? Would they fight?
The place is Wounded Knee, South Dakota. The year, 1891. Chief Bigfoot and approximately 350 men, women, and children were captured by the U.S. cavalry. While surrendering their weapons, a gun was accidentally discharged. The cavalry opened fire on the unarmed Indians. The body of the chief and more than 250 of his people were left to freeze in the snow. Later, a mass grave was dug for them. For their part in the massacre, 18 soldiers received the Congressional Medal of Honor. There were a few survivors.
What is life? Is it the flash of a firefly in the night? It is the breath of a buffalo in the winter time. It is the little shadow which runs across the grass and loses itself in the sunset.
The Nisqually are a small tribe of fishermen who loved the river as if it were the land. Over 100 years ago, they surrendered their land with the promise they could forever fish in the river. Now we are telling them to forget the promise and obey the white man's fishing laws. But the river and its fish mean more to the Nisqually than a white man's fishing regulation.
I have known you in your streams and rivers, where your fish flashed and danced in the sun, and whose waters said, "Come and eat of my abundance." We had the fish before the missionaries came, before the white man came. This was the food on which we lived. My strength is from the fish, my blood is from the fish.
So we did sign the treaty, and we could fish, in our usual and accustomed fishing grounds, which is interpreted a lot different ways when you get into court now. There's different interpretations of what the Indian has really signed. He never did sign his fishing rights away, but that's what they're trying to say that we did. Until they kill us or lock us all up and put us behind bars, we'll still be here, and our kids will be, I hope.
But they've been bothering my son for fishing right in front of my place there. He's got a couple of nets out in the river right now.
When I hear somebody say, well, people have got to, white people have got to go back to Europe, the black people have got to go back to Africa, so we can have our lands again. Well, that's not going to happen, that's not feasible. And so, all people have got to get involved and create the same society, a society that will, benefit all man, all mankind instead of, a society that oppresses mankind. And that's what we've got.
That's been going on pretty all my life. Like when the Indian killed the white man, massacre. That was all right to kill the Indian. They never put that in history. But the Indian tells that, see. The white man, he don't talk about that. Yeah. Oh, the Indian, he's nobody here in America. The Indian has no country. The white man took his country away from him. Nothing. He's got nothing.
And when the last red man shall have perished, and the memory of my tribe shall have become an nth among the white men, these shores will swarm with the invisible dead of my tribe. And when your children's children think themselves alone in the field, the store, the shop, upon the highway, or in the silence of the pathless woods, they will not be alone. The white man will never be alone.